Here we have a pile that I just took the sides off so that I could reuse the waratahs. An old plant stuck in there, an old bucket, because I'm a bit messy sometimes. This is what the soil looks like. Gardeners love that. I'm a gardener and it's amazing. There's worms in there, not many weed seeds you can see. So it went along here to there. You can see that it doesn't go sour. The horses will eat around it, which is why it's appropriate that you can compost this. The composting itself actually heats the seeds and the worm eggs, because all horses have worms, even though your worm count's 0. So it heats it up to 70 degrees at least, 70 degrees Celsius. That kills all the worms, kills the seeds, and it sweetens it back up. So the horses eat right round it. You can chuck it back on the paddock. It is completely safe, so long as you do compost it properly. And there's just a few ways to do that right, but if you're mucking out every day, you're gonna be doing it. So there's not much to worry about there. Let's go have a look at the tools and what we need. Here we have some pallets, some waratahs, a waratah rammer, craft knife, cardboard, stapler and twine. So most of it you'll have lying around. The waratahs don't need to be straight, they don't need to be pretty, they're hidden, they're safe to use. If they are not safe around horses, they'll be hidden under the pallet. They go in between here, so they're safe. Don't worry about how they look too much. Pallets, this one here, not ideal because you've got such a huge space between the slats, but you just use what you can get and that one will be fine. The cardboard will hold it in until the cardboard ruins, but by that stage it kind of lumps together and holds itself, so no need to worry about that. I'm doing it here, which is where the horses mostly poo, and I've got a horse here with me. The horses like to rub on it occasionally, which is why we're using waratahs. It stops them from slipping and moving and stuff like that. So for the first pallet I use 2 waratahs. Any pallet thereafter I use 1 on each side, so just 1 per pallet. And then when I tie it together, the last one is usually just tied on with no waratahs in it, depending on how solid the structure is. You want it solid enough that you can walk on the top of it, because if you walk over the manure and push it down a bit, you can do 2 things. You can feel through your gumboots that it's nice and hot, and you can so you know that it's composting properly and there's no issues there, but also you can push it all down and fit more in there, because the compost drops anyway, so it's making sure that you're getting as much as you can out of each compost bin. So Demi's just reminding me that we have a pronged pitchfork. Makes me look like an old-fashioned country farmer. They are really, really useful to move hay, to move the compost once it's finished, and I just think they're just fantastic. You can use that to scrape up pine needles and all sorts of other things that we'll be using in here, because you need to use more than just poo, which is a bit of a pain, but you'll find that you've got a lot of it around. So I'll just show you a pallet that you'd think is good for the bin, but it's actually quite useful. One moment. This pallet here looks shot, but it's fine. Even if that bottom slat wasn't there at all, I'd still use it, because you slip your waratah through here and then you tie it on anyway. The weight of the compost pushing against it from this side in will stop it from moving. But because this is missing some wood, but it's got some, I'll put the waratah on that side through there and then just tie this side up. It's completely useful, so you don't need to worry about pallets being beautiful depending on what you're needing it for. I just need the compost to be composted at the end of the day, safely, and so that it doesn't sour the paddock. So this is fine. If you want it to look beautiful, you can get all of the pallets looking the same. You can use the weed mat as opposed to the cardboard so that it looks tidy behind it, and then you can plant it up beautifully, or you could even stain the wood if that's what you want to do. Just remember that the wood is heat treated, but it will rot. Down the bottom it will rot. So people are going to ask about fumigated pellets. Methyl bromide, as soon as it's in daylight, will dissolve into the air, so that's actually nothing to worry too much about. Personal options, personal opinions, it's, for me, I don't care so much. You'll find that most of them are heat treat stamped like that. They're not all going to be stamped. I mean, when we have bananas coming in, they're fumigated with hydrogen cyanide so that they're ripened. They don't get stamped because they're on shore. So at the end of the day, you don't really know what you're getting, but at the end of the day, most of it, once it's out in the open, will dissolve and it stops being an issue. So up to you. I'm not so fussy, and I grow my veggies in here. Demi thinks it tastes beautiful. She just needs to help.